Hello. Looks like we are good to go. This is Dan from RV Parks for Rookies, and welcome to our Thursday night training session. I know right now I'm competing with the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers, but that's going to be okay. I'm about to drop some RV park knowledge on you, and I'm super excited. Let me go ahead and make sure that I'm sharing my screen, and we are going to dive into kind of the three channels. I've used two of the three channels, and we're going to dive into those right now, just so you are aware that there are basically no magic bullets out there. These three channels are pretty obvious, so I'm excited to be able to share those with you. So let's take a look. So right now, I think we're good to go. You should be able to see my screen. So the three different ways to buy RV parks. Okay. So before I kick it off, I just want to give a quick background on myself. We have hundreds of people joining the group every single month. Every single week. We're having hundreds of people, and it probably makes sense to share a little bit about my story before I dive in. I've currently have 3 RV parks as well as 3 mobile home parks, and my journey started about 4 years ago, and I bought my first park with some partners, and it got me in the door. Okay, got me on first base, and then I realized I'm going to need to figure things out. Okay, my partners, they had different desires. They wanted to do things a little bit differently, so I actually went ahead and decided I'm going to go ahead and go my own route, and started learning quite a bit more about the operation side, as my first purchase was actually through a self-directed IRA. So on paper, I wasn't actually able to be a part of the operations of the park. So, but what that did is that actually got me on first base. That got me a park. Okay. And then I slowly became trying to figure out how to make it work. I used my background as a business owner to kind of figure out how to create systems and figure out how to analyze deals. And then it took me to get my next park, it took me about 9 months. But then when I got park number 2, all the way to getting park number 6, it was only between 2 and 6. It only took about 14 months. So I figured out how to rinse and repeat and run my parks very efficiently. So I'm sharing with you from my background and experience. This isn't theory. This is what I've actually done to purchase RV parks. And I'm going to share with you the two channels that I've actually used. Okay. One of the channels we're going to hit off right off the bat is going to be a channel I haven't used, but I've almost gone under contract with them. So let's talk through that, because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, what route? Is there some secret underground pipeline of RV parks out there? And there really isn't. So that's the beauty of it, is you're going to find a lot of your success in this space on actually getting out there, and it's not going to come to you. Okay. So what I'm going to share is how I purchased some of my parks through 2 of these channels. And when it comes down to it, you got to understand part of the game, and part of the RV parks are considered commercial real estate, even though sometimes they are listed on a residential platform. Maybe they're considered commercial real estate. And with any real estate, you have the ability, there's people called wholesalers. Okay, and I'm going to show you an example of that. Okay, I'm going to share with you the pros and the cons of working with a wholesaler. So a wholesaler is basically, it's a middleman for the contract. So you're basically purchasing, the wholesaler got the RV park under contract, and they're looking to assign or sell that contract. So they're not selling the RV park. They don't own the RV park. They own the contract to buy the RV park. Okay, so the RV park still has to be purchased. So you're basically buying paper, and the paper that you're buying is a contract to buy the RV park. Okay, so I've dealt with this several times. I've dealt with wholesalers. I see them all the time in a lot of these different groups. So some of the pros of working with a wholesaler is it's off market. Wholesalers when you're working with a real estate professional, very rarely do you see a wholesaler trying to sell a contract when they're working with the real estate professional. So it's mostly off market, and sometimes you can actually get it at a better rate or a discount. The cons of working with a wholesaler is they are not a real estate professional. All right, there's no regulation for wholesalers or for their contracts. Wholesalers are the middleman in the transaction. So basically, you and I, anybody can actually get a park under contract and turn around and assign it or make a profit on wholesaling. You don't have to have a real estate license to do that. So that's a benefit is anybody can do it. But if the contract goes south, okay, and I've worked with wholesaler before, and they do go south. So if a contract goes south, the only way to settle is basically in court. You got to take them to court or wherever they're located. One of the other unfortunate things about working with the wholesaler, they're typically in a different state than where the real estate is. Okay, so it's a little bit harder to track down. All right, where do you find wholesalers? There's sometimes you can get on mailing lists. Here's an example of a Facebook group. I found this in a Facebook group. A lot of people are in RV parks for sale, or there's several different RV park for sale groups. So this one right here is a wholesaler who has an off-market RV park. You have to vet everything in this. They put up the earnest money. So when you're working with the wholesaler, you got to have the contract basically that you're buying. You got to be able to get your eyes on that, as well as you got to figure out how much of a fee you're paying to the wholesaler as well. So there's some wholesalers that this is their entire business model. So then they can get parks under contract across the nation. And so that's just their business model that works for them because they don't have to be licensed. So just be aware of wholesaling. You got to understand. So this looks like if you're in the industry or have been looking at RV parks for a while, you should be able to see and differentiate a wholesaler from a direct seller. Okay. All right. So now have not purchased through a wholesaler. I've been almost under contract for a wholesaler of a park up in Montana, but ended up going a different direction. But I've had many wholesalers come to me with their parks, and I haven't found one that makes sense or pencils out yet. Okay. All right. So the next channel, okay, or the next way to buy RV parks is through commercial or residential real estate agents. Okay, these are real estate professionals. All right, I'm going to show you different ways that you can find the parks there. But the pros, so there are some pros of working with real estate professionals. Okay, they're regulated by their state real estate commission, which is nice. Okay, they're also regulated by their broker and their compliance team on their brokerage. All right, they handle all the paperwork. Excuse me. So that's nice because you don't really, if there's any issues with the paperwork or there's checks and balances on the compliance team of their brokerage, and they also have, most brokerages is going to have a lawyer involved as well. So you can have rest assured in that regard. Okay. The commission. So sometimes, and this is working with a residential as well as a commercial agent, the commission is typically paid directly by the seller. And I've seen commissions as high as 10%. Basically, depending upon the dollar amount, under $1 million, they go 10%, above $1 million, they give the seller a little bit of a discount on some of these national commercial brokerages. So the nice thing is the seller will front that cost. All right. And the hope is on the seller side, the hope is that they're going to get that the brokerage is going to prove that they can get a retail price for them, which means that they should be up after they pay their commission. They should be up unless they were to do it themselves. So that's the whole why real estate agents are in business, is they feel like they can get at the highest market or the highest price for the parks. All right. So the cons of working with a real estate agent. Okay. And I've worked with real estate agents, both commercial as well as residential, to buy RV parks. The cons are you're probably going to pay a retail price for it, meaning you're going to pay probably the appropriate cap rate for the region. You typically on the commercial side, typically the seller is basically the one that's probably only going to get the representation. That's very common. If you were to bring in your own agent to represent you on a residential, if you find one on the residential market, it's easier for the residential agent to get the one that you bring in to be able to split the commission. But if you're going to bring one into a commercial listing, your agent's going to have to go and fight for their own commission, or you may even have to come out of pocket to cover your agent's commission. So you just got to be aware of that. One of the cons also is you're going to have to sign most of the time, you're going to have to sign an NDA or a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement. Okay, and this is common, very common practice, because agents are in the business. They only get paid if it sells. So they're protecting their commission and not allowing you to, basically, when the listing comes off market, or if the agent doesn't do their job, the confidentiality agreement, if everything expires but you sign this, there's no ability for you to go around and avoid paying the commission. So just be aware of that. All right. So how do you find RV parks on working with on market agents, commercial agents, or residential agents? So you're going to find them on these different platforms. Okay, there's the LoopNet's one of the biggest one, but all of these platforms, very rarely will you find. I do see some that are found on for sale by owner, but most of the time they're represented by either a commercial agent or a residential agent, which on these platforms, they basically get national exposure. Okay, so LoopNet's one of the biggest, LoopNet.com, Crexi.com, those are one of the bigger commercial real estate listing platforms for commercial. Okay, and then the other ones that are more specific to RV parks, because Loopsy and Crexi those are national platforms for commercial real estate. So you're gonna have hotels, car washes, self-storage. You're going to have everything, strip malls, retail strip malls, and all of those together. So you got to really hone in on RV parks and make sure you got a good search going on. But then RVParkStore.com, RVParksForSale.com, the Campground Connection, ParksandPlaces.com, RVParkSales.com, CampgroundBrokers.com, the CampgroundMarketplace.com. These are a lot of different platforms. A lot of the parks are actually cross marketed on all these different platforms. So just be aware of that. But this opens up. Some people might not have seen these, but these are good places to start seeing what's out there. And know when you're looking at these are on market, so they're retail. All right, so it's going to be very expensive, and a lot of the time, it's going to be it just right now. It's just they're not penciling out. So you gotta just understand, don't be discouraged. It's looking for RV parks as a numbers game. Okay. One of the other things to do outside of looking at these national platforms and listings and kind of creating, a lot of the times they have the ability to create a search criteria where they can send an email to you. So go ahead and do that. All right. But one of the other ways to get parks coming to you constantly is looking at the national or regional brokerage or real estate companies out there that have mobile home park or RV park teams. Okay, so mobile home parks are kind of a distant cousin of the RV park. So a lot of the mobile home brokers will also have RV park listings as well. So Marcus Millichip, Capstone Companies, Colliers, Newmark, all of these right here are good, solid. Have all of them have RV park teams or mobile home park teams. So get on their email lists. Okay, that's a great way to get exposure right away. So to your inbox, basically almost every day I'm getting some. I mean, they're all across the U.S., right? So I'm not looking all across the U.S., but what it does is it gets me to be able to see what's out there. Okay, and I get to see how. Sometimes the same listings keep on coming and their prices are getting reduced. So it gets me a pulse on the market. Okay. That's a great place to start if you're not on those yet. All right. For here, this is what I'm going to say right here. Everybody in RV Parks for Rookies needs to start here. Okay. This is where I purchased my last RV park from. Look at your local MLS. All right. Wherever you're at. Okay. Look at your local MLS. Residential agents get RV parks all the time. And the truth is, residential agents, they don't know how to price RV parks. All right. So start here, do a search, find maybe your regional MLS and just start looking, just searching RV park, not RV parking, because you're going to find all the homes that have the big, nice, big garages. No, try to just search RV parks. I myself go after smaller RV parks, but start here. Okay. See what's out there. All right. If there's like a few towns over that's in a different MLS market, or just even if you have a good relationship with the real estate agent, have them start throwing you the RV parks that are out there. So that's a great place to start. This is how I bought my last RV park. It was 2 miles away from my one of my other RV parks, and saw the listing, and it was priced very good. So I decided to go under contract, and I didn't even have to negotiate the price down because it was that good of a park. So those are still out there. Okay. The other option is going direct to seller. All right. This one is one of my favorites. Going direct to seller. Okay. Let's talk about the pros there. And what is going direct to seller? Direct to seller is, that's the one who owns the RV park. All right. I'm going to show you a few different places that you'll find those, but it's pretty obvious that sometimes they're actually, I just got back from Campground Owners Expo convention in Branson, Missouri. And most of your RV park owners out there are operating their RV parks on site. So a lot of the time now is a more of a quiet time of year for them. So a lot of the time, sending them an email or just even dropping by is probably going to be a good way to see if they're interested in selling, and just at least give your name to them when they do become interested. Okay. The pros of working directly with seller. Okay. Some sellers, they don't want to pay the 6 or 10%. They are confident of the sales price. Okay. So they're okay getting a little bit less of a sales price than retail, because they're hoping they're gonna save money on the fees, where the real estate agents they're thinking they're gonna get this much more, so their fees, they're gonna be net up working with the real estate agent. Okay, that's what their hope is, at least. So a lot of those, like, I would just want to do it myself. Then that's okay. I've one of my parks I've purchased direct to seller. He was the same way. He didn't want to pay the 6% commission to, they probably would have went with the residential agent, and knew that they were probably going to have to answer all the questions anyways, because when you're working and buying an RV park, there's a lot of nuanced questions that you have. So, so they realized I should probably just do it myself. I'm going to be having to answer the phone or answer text messages from the agent every 20 minutes. So, so the ability to, also you have the ability to be a little bit more creative on your purchase, maybe even purchase price, on negotiating it a little bit easier or better, as well as the down payment. You can be creative on, maybe they would be interested in carrying part of the, give a lump sum down payment and then carrying the rest of the balance. There's a lot more creative things you can do when you're working directly with seller. Okay. Most of the times when you're working directly with agents, anything creative, they think that's illegal, which is hilarious. It took me about 2 or 3 deals to actually start being more and more creative, which is what I teach in my course, which is how to be creative and keep as much money in your pocket as possible, which is always a good situation. All right. The ability to be creative, not only with the double it up there, with the purchase price, but also the down payment. Okay. That's the pro. Okay. Another one of the pros um, is you're going to be able to get your answers direct to seller. You get your answers right away, which is really nice. Okay. The cons. Okay. They are harder to find. Okay. A lot of real estate. It's been RV parks have been really hot over the last several years. The run ups during the COVID years have a lot of people interested. I got 2 or 3 phone calls today of people not from this country trying to ask if I want to sell my RV parks, and I say no. So it's if I had somebody who actually showed up to my RV park and actually said, "Hey, I'm interested in doing it when I'm on site," I would actually have a legit conversation with them. Okay, I'm sick of the spammers and wholesalers or spammers out there that English is their second language. So it's really easy to sift through that. I want to sell my park to somebody who actually is going to operate it the way I want them to operate it. So they're hard to find, takes a little bit more time. And another con is you have to actually handle all the paperwork yourself, or you can hire, I mean, if you're under contract, you can hire a transaction coordinator. Or if you got a real estate agent who you can just pay a flat fee for, they can help you out along with a real estate attorney to make sure everything's handled that way. So how do you find RV parks that are for sale by owner or directly from the owner? So there's a bunch of different Facebook groups out there. There's Facebook RV parks for sale. There's like 4 or 5 of them. They're very similar in their names, but you see something like this. Like this is a guy that I reached out to. It wasn't a good fit for me, but so this is an RV park for sale by owner. So on the group, I myself bought a park from one of those Facebook groups and a listing just like this. And my strategy was I knew he was getting pounded by a lot of instant messages. And so you see right here, this guy had 40 comments. I know this guy was getting pounded too. So I just reached out, I asked for his phone number and gave him a call and said, "Hey, this is an hour away from my house. I'll show up tomorrow." And I showed up, and basically that's all it took, because all through these instant messengers and everything, you want to get somebody on the phone. Most of these people are older. Okay. You got to become the grandpa or the grandma whisperer. Let them know that you're a real person, especially when you're finding them on Facebook or on some of these Facebook groups. Okay. So that's a little insider secret for a park owner is I want to talk to somebody on the phone. All right. And then I'll be up to seeing them face to face as well. Okay. So another place to do it is going to the RV park or calling them, okay, sending them an email, figuring out when the owners are there, and stop by and say hi, okay, bring your card, give me your phone number. I've just shown up to several RV parks. One of them in particular was one that I really enjoyed, thought it was a great park. And as I was going through the conversation, it came out. He's like, "Hey, are you interested in buying?" So I already owned an RV park, so I was just came and just introduced myself. I wasn't looking to purchase the RV park from him, but he's like, "Hey, I know you're an RV park owner. Are you interested in buying my park?" Like I was like, "Whoa!" Was not expecting that, but that's something you need to do when people are interested. If you show interest in them, and you even introduce yourself of, "Hey, I'm in the area. This is why, this is why I have this group. This is why I have RV Parks for Rookies." Is sometimes people are just intimidated to do things. This is new. Okay. So there's no magic bullet. All right. You just gotta have a strategy. You gotta understand what you're doing so you don't make huge mistakes. Okay. I've made those huge mistakes and they've cost me lots of money. But that's why helping out people get on first base is one of my passions. So call, show up in person. You're going to find most of the RV parks are owned by people that are later in their years. Sometimes you'll have younger people owning parks, and sometimes they're interested in selling, but those are the ones that may have only bought it in the last 5 years or so. Parks that are owned by older couples have typically been owned for over 5 years. There's some nice stats and data on that. So sometimes they're like, right now is the right time of year where they're just come out of their busy season. They're trying to think, oh, do we want to go through another busy season? So get out there, and I call it pound the pavement. All right. So I'm just going to recap. Okay. This week's training was just about the 3 different ways to buy RV parks. All right. And the 3 different ways to find them. So the most beneficial thing for you, if you're going to take the step of RV park ownership, is understanding the commercial real estate game. Really, this is extremely helpful for your negotiations. Okay, understand how it works. Most people that I've spoken with, like I got off the phone yesterday with a local guy who wants me to help him sell his park. It's a mobile home RV park combo in Oregon. He's never sold commercial real estate before. Okay, so I have. So I had to kind of coach him through. Okay, how do you do it? How do you position it to sell? What's being realistic? Okay, get yourself in the buyer's mindset on the current market. Okay, so understanding the real estate game. Once you understand it, this is where I understood it. It took me from my first park to my second park. It took me 9 months where I was like honed in, understanding it, ready to do this. Bought the courses to figure this out, which turned out that they didn't help me at all. And then I had to go through it. And then once I had my strategy on how I wanted to operate it, it became easier and easier and easier. So park number 2 to park number 6, only 14 months, because I was rinsing and repeating. Okay. My first park was not a home run. It was getting on first base. Okay. My second park, a little bit better. Okay. My third park when I build that one out, will be a grand slam when I build it out. Okay. So I bought a performing park with the ability to expand. Okay. My fourth park was a unicorn. I bought that with zero money out of my pocket. I got a check at closing. All right. That was a unicorn. Okay. My fifth park, I ended up buying that for less than 10% down. That one, I ended up actually selling, doubling the value within a little over a year, doubled the value. Wanted to keep that one, but I ended up selling that one, and the sellers are keeping me on to operate that park. And then my last park I bought on the residential MLS, and that park is doing great. Okay, they're doing very well. So I've gone through all those different channels. And it's understanding. What's helped me out is understanding the real estate game for the commercial real estate. Okay, most of us understand the residential game. Most of us have purchased our houses through that. Okay, understanding how people are getting paid and compensated. Okay, learning what a wholesaler is. Okay, learning what it's going to look like when you're going direct to seller. Okay, what advantages are there, and knowing what to pay on a retail price. Okay, on what a retail price should be. All right. And then got to get on those RV park brokerage email lists. That's extremely helpful. Maybe if you never even buy a park from them, I purchased off, not off those lists, but I purchased off LoopNet before. It is helpful because you get a pulse of that. Okay. And I see a lot of people, they're trying to get a home run or a grand slam on their first park. Okay. Just need to get on base. All right. Get on base, and then you understand whether this is something for you or not. Okay. That's what my foundational roadmap course is all about, is trying to help people get on base. All right. Then once you're on base, then you get to realize, okay, you get to buy it right. So, if the stuff hits the fan, you're not going to lose any money. That's the way I approach my parks, is I want to make sure, if anything, I know I can get my money out. That's the financial advisor in me. That's Warren Buffett talking about rule number 1 is do not lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. Okay. So that you can do it in real estate, and you can do it with RV parks. Okay. So just to recap, okay, you can buy them through wholesalers. Okay. You can buy them through commercial and residential agents. All right. There's a bunch of different platforms. You can see them listed with those people, and you can buy them directly through the seller. Okay. All right. So go have fun. If you're interested in just getting more information about my RV Park Roadmap course, reach out to me directly, and I can have a one-on-one conversation. Me and my wife can, if you're interested. And safe travels. Okay, have fun. Go through this list here. I will list a couple of the different links, but go through this list. Okay, get on these brokerage email lists so things start coming to you. Okay, and when you're ready to take the next step, go out and start pounding the pavement. Try to find those in your area. Okay, those on the residential market, but then those in your area. Okay, go see if they're ready to sell. Okay, all right. We'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Hopefully, I don't even know who I want to win, either the New England Patriots or the Steelers. I got no horse in that race. So hopefully it's a good game. All right. RV Parks for Rookies. See you guys soon, and safe travels. Eventually I'm going to be able to shut this thing off. All right. Later.